Unbelievable. When Kurila pulled up the crab trap, he found something unexpected. A massive octopus inside. But what really ticked him off was that most of the crabs he had caught were gone, eaten by the octopus, leaving only empty shells behind. Furious, Kurila decided to take matters into his own hands and pulled the octopus out of the trap, ready to teach it a lesson. But what happened next left him stunned. The octopus's escape abilities were nothing short of amazing. As soon as Kurila placed the octopus on the deck, it immediately started heading toward a small hole on the side of the boat. What surprised everyone was that this tiny hole was actually the octopus's way out. With its massive body, no one thought it could possibly fit through. The octopus began by pushing two of its tentacles into the hole, then started squeezing its large, bulbous head. It looked like it was going to get stuck, but as the camera shifted to the other side, half of its head was already through. Slowly but surely, the octopus managed to wiggle its way through and escape completely. It was absolutely incredible. Not only are octopuses smart, but their ability to escape is on a whole different level. In just a few moments, this octopus had squeezed through the hole and vanished back into the sea. What an incredible escape. This guy reeled in an absolutely massive sea monster, and it was nothing short of dramatic. As he turned the reel to pull the line, the giant fish thrashed wildly, bending the fishing rod to nearly 90 degrees. Everyone watching couldn't help but wonder, how much does this fish weigh? Without the safety railings, he might have been dragged into the ocean long ago. Pouring all his strength into reeling, he even tried changing his position, but after all that effort, there was still no sign of the fish. Locals who regularly fish here said that encounters with such massive fish, especially with the height difference between the shore and the water, were not uncommon. By now, a curious crowd had gathered on the shore, eager to see if he could actually land the catch. If he succeeded, it would mean a huge payday. With that in mind, he doubled down, leaning dangerously far out as he continued to reel in the line. Kudos to the quality of his fishing rod. It held up amazingly well. After more than 30 minutes of intense struggle, the giant fish finally surfaced. It turned out to be an enormous grouper, easily weighing around 200 pounds. Fortunately, he managed to secure the catch just in time before his rod snapped. If he'd been even a few seconds slower, that fish might have been the one that got away. The man grabbed his fishing net and eagerly ran forward. Spotting a fast-flowing section of the river, he carefully aimed and cast the net. It spread out perfectly, covering an entire school of fish. Without wasting time, he rushed to check his catch. Judging by the water splashing everywhere, it was a big haul, likely hundreds of fish. But his excitement quickly faded when he realized most of the fish were too small. Slightly disappointed, he picked up his net and moved to another spot, this time by a calm lake. He cast the net again, hoping for a better result. Slowly pulling the rope back in, he felt a strong resistance. It could only mean one thing: big fish. As the net emerged from the water, he was thrilled to see a load of large fish, each weighing around 3 to 4 kilograms. This is enough to last me a week, he thought, smiling with satisfaction. After 2 impressive catches, he couldn't resist trying again. He headed to yet another spot, this time at a deeper and broader area. When he threw the net, the water immediately churned with activity. As he pulled the net closer, the weight increased significantly. To his amazement, there were hundreds of big fish caught this time. It was a truly unexpected jackpot. He couldn't help but marvel at how abundant the resources in this area were. I've never seen such an intense deep-sea fishing scene. Kurila managed to hook a massive grouper in the ocean, but before he could pull it onto the boat, a swarm of sharks attacked. By the time he reeled it in, all that remained was the grouper's head. As he attempted to grab the head, another shark snatched it away. Frustrated and helpless, Kurila was forced to cut the fishing line to avoid further trouble. The captain, unwilling to give up, quickly baited the hook with a 5-kilogram fish, securing it to a thicker rope to prevent it from snapping. Once the bait hit the bottom, an enormous force tugged on the line. Instead of pulling immediately, the captain let the fish drag the line about 10 meters. When the time was right, he yanked the line, starting a fierce struggle with what seemed to be a heavyweight fish. After more than 10 minutes of back and forth, a gigantic dark shadow slowly surfaced near the boat. The captain couldn't help but exclaim, this fish was massive, weighing over 100 kilograms. But even more shocking was the discovery that the shark's back bore clear signs of being attacked. Sharks are usually apex predators in the ocean, so what kind of creature could have attacked it? Could it have been another shark? Here's what happened in the Amazon River. A guy was out fishing and noticed a few electric eels gathering near the riverbank. He tried to catch them with his fishing rod, but it didn't work. So he quickly switched tactics and threw the bait towards them. As the bait sank, one of the eels rushed over and grabbed it. The guy saw this and quickly started reeling it in. Don't be fooled by its small size. This eel can generate electricity, and that's why not many fishermen dare to catch them. But this guy was feeling bold. When he pulled the eel closer to the boat, it flipped its tail, nearly electrocuting him on the spot. You see, electric eels can generate up to 300 volts, and just a brief contact can knock a person out in 3 seconds. To stay safe, the guy decided to get out of the water and back onto land. There are many electric eels in the Amazon River, and they tend to live in groups, all in the same area. But the story doesn't end there. While fishing, the guy accidentally hooked an electric eel. Just moments later, another eel surfaced from below. He thought it had come to rescue its mate, but to his surprise, it bit the other one. The two eels started wriggling around, and he thought they were fighting, but in fact, they were helping each other escape from the hook. Incredible! A fisherman using artificial bait to catch a red grouper was shocked when a larger grouper attacked it. But things got worse. The big grouper was then attacked by a mysterious creature, leaving only half of its body behind. Furious, the fisherman decided to find out who was behind the attack. He caught a 3 to 4 kilogram yellowfin tuna, stabbed it in the head with a needle, and secured it on the line. Despite the tuna's pain, they showed no mercy and tossed it back into the sea. As the bait sank, the fisherman handed the rod to a strong man nearby who was stunned by the size of the bait. Soon, the line was yanked with tremendous force. The strong man nearly lost the rod to the water. Fortunately, his companion stabilized him. The fish biting the bait was now full of power. Before the strong man could recover, it pulled the line again. He struggled to reel it in, but the sea creature's strength was beyond imagination. Minutes passed, and the strong man, exhausted and red-faced, fought to stay in control. To tire the giant fish, they used a technique of letting out the line in loops. After about 20 minutes, the fish weakened. Turned out to be a massive shark, about 2 to 3 meters long, the same one that had attacked their grouper. Watching a fisherman dive to catch seafood is truly exciting. Karila first noticed a large fish lying motionless on the sandy seabed. Moving his clamp closer with utmost care, he ensured no noise, as fish are highly sensitive to movement. Surprisingly, this fish seemed to be in a deep sleep, unaware of the danger nearby. With one swift motion, Karila clamped the fish, but to his shock, it was already dead. Not long after, Karila spotted a large lobster near a coral reef. Its long antennae gently swayed, making it hard to distinguish from a lifeless catch. Catching it was no easy task, as lobsters are quick to flee. Holding his breath, Karila slowly inched closer and successfully grabbed it. Despite its frantic struggles, it was too late for the lobster to escape. Underwater seafood hunting requires more than just skill. It demands sharp eyesight. Many creatures hide beneath the sand, making them challenging to spot. Karila continued his search and soon discovered another creature buried in the mud. He quickly recognized it as a large crab. Catching crabs is easier compared to lobsters, as crabs move slower. Karila quickly secured the crab, despite its fierce attempts to break free. As with the fish and lobster, the crab eventually ended up in his bag. Watching Karila catch seafood underwater is both thrilling and fascinating. The man eagerly cast his fishing net into the rushing river, then jumped into the water himself. No one knew how many fish he would catch this time, but his actions were incredibly professional. He let the current carry him and the net downstream before finding his footing on a shallow bank on the opposite side. Then he began pulling up the net. Judging by the weight, it seemed packed with fish. But when he finally lifted it, there was only one tiny fish, much to everyone's surprise. In stark contrast, another man decided to fish in a small puddle. As soon as he cast his net, the water erupted with activity. To his astonishment, the tiny puddle was teeming with fish. Wasting no time, he hauled the net out, revealing dozens of fish, enough to last him an entire week. The third man, however, focused on catching larger fish. He cast his net into a lake and managed to snag a massive carp weighing dozens of kilograms. As he tried to pull it onto his boat, the fish began thrashing wildly and broke free. Only a few strands of netting clung to its body. Sensing trouble, the man quickly grabbed for its gills, but the slippery fish was impossible to hold. In the end, the giant fish escaped, leaving him with nothing but a story of what could have been. Did you know that once a blue crab grows to 2 or 3 kilograms, it becomes very dangerous? Even with 2.5 years of experience at sea, Karila almost got pinched by one. Luckily, he managed to catch it. His luck was incredible that day. Not long after, he encountered another blue crab trying to escape. A few steps later, he caught up to it. He noticed that one of the crab's large claws had been broken, leaving just one. This would lower its value, but it still weighed about 2 kilograms, which could fetch a good price, similar to a 1.5 kilogram crab. Catching crabs requires good eyesight and excellent technique. Without it, getting pinched is very painful. Karila's brother failed several times, but eventually he caught it. Just as they were celebrating, another crab lunged at them with its massive claws. Karila's younger brother reached out to grab it, but the crab turned and almost pinched his hand. Fortunately, he caught it in the end. Not far away, he found another crab. It was easy to catch, but when he picked it up, he noticed it only had one claw. Did you know that if a crab loses a claw, it can grow a new one over time? Catching a crab like this is like finding money. Are you envious, friends watching? This boy stumbled upon a cave by the sea where seawater flowed in and out constantly. Without hesitation, he baited a hook with a piece of fish meat and threw it inside. He suspected that this cave might be hiding something exciting. Moments later, a gush of water revealed a dark figure moving within the cave. Sure enough, within less than a minute, the hook jerked violently. It had caught something. The boy quickly began reeling it in. The fierce waves inside the cave made it even harder as they added extra resistance to the pull. Judging by the struggle, it was clear that the catch catch was a big fish. After a tough battle, the fish finally surfaced, but before long it slipped back into the water. Undeterred, the boy remained calm. The hook was still firmly lodged in the fish's mouth, and no matter how much it thrashed, it couldn't escape. With sheer determination, the boy pulled the fish up again. This time, to prevent it from escaping, his older brother rushed over to help. Together, they managed to secure the fish and haul it onto shore. The fish was massive, larger than an adult's calf, and weighing at least 10 kilograms. Seeing the size of their catch, the boys' companions couldn't contain their excitement, dancing and cheering. With a fish this large, they knew it could fetch a considerable price at the market.